All right, let's talk essences. Let's do something a little bit different. Essences in general are usually really good. This league, essences are a little strange because of the graveyard. Now, what I'm going to talk to you about today is something that was actually brought to me by you guys. Somebody reached out and they're like, hey, I did this really big strategy. It was really cool. Essences were really a lot of fun, and I really wanted to share it with you. And maybe you can make a video about it or talk about it or try it. And I was like, I love essences. Let's do it. So I got this DM from a person named It's Milldredd, and they reached out and they were pretty much sharing their essence farming strategy with me and what's going on and how they did it. And I tried it on stream and it was really good. And it was actually like really good, and it was a lot of fun. The biggest problem with essences is because the graveyard is a thing, essences aren't worth as much as they normally are. But we can get around that with doing a couple of weird things. Thanks to the latest Necropolis patch, our scarab choices and essences are completely different. And to do things with essences, just like any other farming strategy, we need to tailor our essences based around the scarabs. And currently we have additional essences. We have essences found in, our higher tier. We can corrupt them to get transforming results. All the monsters can be essences, and we can just do a bunch of really cool things. And essentially what they were doing was they weren't farming essences for essences, they were farming essences for the corrupted essences. And when you looked into it, and I was wondering why, the corrupted essences are about 5 to a divine, 4 to a divine, depending on how many bulk that you have of these corrupted essences. And honestly, I was thinking to myself, well, that's actually crazy. Like, you can even see like the stock, you can see on the stock and the hysterias that they're not they're like, the stock is so low that they can easily go 1 to 3. Essence of Delirium becomes the same thing eventually, where like there's more stocks of these because more people use Deliriums, but just in general, the essences themselves, the stocks start to run low, especially with hysterias. And it becomes really, really, really easy to start to farm these essences and to convert essences and to get essences to do what you want. Now, essences themselves in general, every other league prior to this one, were always very expensive, but this league, essences are struggling a little bit due to like the nature of the graveyard. So going forward, essences in theory should revert back to a good state. Some essences are still very expensive. Zeals are about 36 to a divine at the time of recording. Loathings are 34 to a divine at the time of recording. Envies 26 to a divine, and some are still pretty expensive, but the graveyard makes things interesting. Though knowing that the corrupted essences are so expensive, it makes it kind of interesting, and you ask yourself, is it worth farming these? Should I go look for these, and what's the deal? And well, according to the data that I was given and the little bit of testing that I did, I've been able to get a ton of corrupted essences. Pretty much we're taking an extremely standard tree. We're grabbing pretty much all of the essence nodes. These are the big important ones. We want additional essences. We want 3 additional essences on our map device, and we want our essences to be a tier higher. Now you'll notice with the essences that I also, like Milldredd, came over here and took additional essences and did not take Crystal Resonance. Crystal Resonance is a node that was added this league. This is a map boss's random essence modifiers for any imprisoned essence on your map. Using a Remnant Corruption on an imprisoned monster in your map replaces all the essences with one of the essence modifiers. Essentially what this means is if I were to use a Remnant of Corruption, all of the essences on an essence monster would become the same one. So if I was hunting corrupted essences, I would need the Remnant of Corruption to target the right essence and have it corrupt into a corrupted essence, and then all of them would become. Now, these Remnants of Corruptions will convert your Scorns, your Envies, your Miseries, and your Dreads into corrupted essences. So that's what we're going to be looking for. Everything else on the Atlas tree is pretty optional. I will say, and one thing they pointed out that was really important is normally in the past when we did our maps and we farmed our essences, we never wanted to run modified maps. We always wanted to run the maps scoured. But now with the way that essence strategy has changed, we want to increase the effect of the map modifier. So you'll notice that we take all of the map modifier effect nodes on our tree to give us maximum amount of effective modifiers. This is because we're going to be using scarabs in combination with our map to do things. With the way things have changed with essences, I believe the best tier of map to run essence on is tier 16, or tier 6, I should say. If you do tier 16, the maps are going to be a lot harder, the essences are going to be a lot harder, and the only reason to run 16s is if you're hunting invitations and you're hunting tier 17 maps, which would increase your profit per hour. But from my understanding, you can do essences as low as tier 6 maps, and you'll get the same results of what we're hunting and aiming for. You'll notice too, on the map, we take a lot of beast nodes, and beast nodes go hand in hand with what we're going to be doing. Essentially, with our Atlas tree, we don't care about the ritual. The ritual was extra. It's just points I had in. I didn't feel like removing them. There was nothing else I wanted to put the points into. If you're hunting corpses and you're doing tier 16 maps, all the ritual nodes can go into corpses. If you're hunting invitations, blue versus red, you could put those into either side. It doesn't really matter. But essentially what we're doing is we're going to be utilizing and doing everything around the essence scarab of calcification. This says rare monsters that are natural inhabitants in the area are imprisoned by essences. That means that mobs that naturally spawn on the map can be and will be imprisoned at essences. So more rare monsters that naturally spawn when you open the map, the more essences that you see in a map. And we pair that with the Scarab of Adversaries. This gives us 4 packs of mirrored rares. So when we hop into a map, you'll notice there's going to be a bunch of essences that are going to be paired together because they are naturally spawned on the map from this. We're then going to take our essences and make them a tier higher, and then we're going to use the Remnants of Corruption, and this is the only way now that you can get corrupted essences. Beasts become natural inhabitants on the map, and they get imprisoned with this, hence why we're doing them together. Now, the cool thing is I'm running Strand. I like Strand. Strand is a very straight map. I believe Strand does not have the best pack size density. I believe it's Underground Sea or Underground River. One of them has the better map. I think it's Underground Sea has the best density, but there's ways to find out. If you guys have an idea or clue of what are the best density maps are, please by all means leave a comment down below. I know Strand's probably not the best choice, but for me, Strand is really easy. Essentially what we're going to do, because we are scaling the amount of rares in the map, we are going to want to take our maps and at least make them blue and roll our maps for increased number of rare monsters. Now, I was recommended to do 30% because of the scaling and the way that the effective modifiers in the map roll, and you want to scale this modifier very specifically to get more rare monsters. If you're like me and you just kind of want to map and blast, you don't need to do this. But essentially, all I've been doing was I would grab a tab of maps, I would make them blue, I would type the word rare in here, and then I would just kind of spam my map. And it doesn't take very long if you have a ton of maps. I actually have a ton of maps already ready to go. If I just look for Strand and I grab my Strand and then I type rare and I take a bunch of blue maps and I go like this, I can pretty much just kind of like sit here for a minute and just spam a bunch of maps and pretty much just roll my maps to have rare modifiers. If you don't want to do this, you can essentially buy maps that have the rare modifier tag on them. You could search for them on trade. You could buy them on TFT. But note that buying 8 modded rare maps, while will save you time, will make these maps a absolute metric ton harder. And you really, really don't want to make these maps. Whoops, I just rolled over it. You really don't want to make these maps harder than what, they're meant to be. They're already going to be difficult. Essence mobs in themselves are very difficult to deal with. And we just kind of want to make our life as easy and smooth as possible. Especially if you're buying tier 6 maps or you're running tier 6 maps, you're never really going to have the opportunity to get a ton of 8 modded tier 6 maps unless you farm them yourself, which is also a possibility. You can also just farm them yourself. On our Atlas device, we're going to come here. We're going to click on Essence. We're going to get 2 additional essences for 3 chaos. We're going to make sure we're on the right thing. We're farming this and we're opening our map. Everything that you would do with the lantern, you would do standard with any other strategy, assuming the lantern is still in the game post after this. I don't know. The lantern's a wild, mysterious creature that we'll leave for another video. Coming into the map now, if you're doing your tier 16s, you'll probably want to kill a bunch of mobs. You're going to be looking for those tier 17 maps. You're just going to be blasting. But essentially what we're looking for is we're looking for all of the essences. You see right here, this is obviously a mirrored pack of rares. You see over here, these are also a mirrored pack of rares. You can see by the modifiers on them that they're exactly the same. In terms of, like I had mentioned earlier, we are looking to corrupt any purple essences that we see. So right there we have Scorn. We're going to corrupt our Scorn, and we're going to hope that it goes corrupted. And unfortunately, it didn't. Spite is pink. So we're not going to corrupt it. Things that you do want to corrupt, or in my experience would look at, consider corrupting, would be any essence that has 4 or more in it, and any essence that doesn't have a bunch of deafenings already. So like wailing can't go to deafening, screaming can't go to deafening, so we wouldn't do this one. But in this one, screaming I think can go to deafening, or shrieking, one of these can go to deafening. I want to say it's shrieking can go to deafening, but because it's only 3 and because it's anguish, we don't really want to do that. So we're just going to break this out. We're going to kill these really quick. We're going to grab our essences and we're going to just kind of go next. So we got 3 essences over here and we're just at the beginning of the map. This is number 4 and 5. This one we corrupted. This one didn't convert over. This one we're going to do the same thing. We're going to corrupt this one and kill this one. And then we're just going to kind of like come over here. We see this one. It's got deafening, deafening, deafening. We're just going to break this out. We're going to clear this really quick. And now note, these maps in themselves will go a lot faster. You won't be like me. You won't be sitting here. You won't be talking. You won't be like double, triple, quadruple checking everything. You're just going to kind of be blasting and going. Now you see that this was a beast. The beast is a natural inhabitant of the map and it is converted into an essence. The same thing here. The beast is a natural inhabitant of the map and it's just converted into an essence. And then we kill the beast and we move. Now my character is pretty strong and you can see that that essence took a little while to kill. And this is one of the reasons why I say you probably want to do these in tier 6 maps, because sometimes these beast mobs or sometimes these essences in general can just be relatively difficult to kill. And the idea is we really don't want to struggle. We really want to make this strategy as easy as possible. Now coming over here, we have a purple one. We have a misery. We're going to take our corruptions. We're going to corrupt it. We're going to hope it goes. It doesn't go. Unlucky. Of course, while you're trying to showcase this to people, it's not going to work. And then we're going to do this one. We're going to corrupt it. We're going to see what happens. It's a red mob. We're going to kill it. Okay, we're waiting. Einhardt's going to do this thing. This one we have screaming. We're going to upgrade these to a bunch of shriekings. So yeah, shrieking turns into deafening. Screaming turns into shrieking. Yeah, I remember. Awesome. Okay, we're just going to sit here. We're going to beat on this thing for a second. We're going to grab our essences over here. Come over here, grab our essences over here. Remnant of corruption. Usually you won't get as many essences with remnants of corruption on them. This is, we're getting a rare occurrence here. Ideally, you don't take these nodes to give you more essence of corruptions. So because we're getting so many right now, it's just, just unlucky. So this one we see we have deafening, shrieking, screaming. We should attempt to convert these shriekings to deafenings. So we get deafening, essing, shrieking, screaming, and we just get unlucky. They don't upgrade, they just change. The reality of RNG being its finest, I'm sure we'll hop into another map and it'll go just as well. But you see, while we're going through this map right now, it is just tons and tons and tons of essences. And, going forward in future leagues, the idea that this is a possibility and this is the reality of what essences is it makes it very easy for us to farm a large number of essences. So we have a purple one there. We have a purple one there. We convert that. It doesn't change. We convert that. It doesn't change. Of course not. Why would it ever change? Why, of course, when I'm trying to show how this works, it doesn't change. Dang it. But just in general, even if we don't get lucky with the changes, I mean, look at how many essences we get on this map. You honestly just can't beat it. Yeah, granted, like some of the essences are 60 to a divine and that doesn't feel the best, but if you're going to use essences and you're going to craft with essences and you really know how to make the best use out of essences, you can actually make an absolute killing. Using, selling, flipping essences. Essences have always been one of my go-to farming strategies. And I highly encourage players to use them, to try them, to absolutely just have a really good time with them. Now we're gonna do another map. We're gonna hop right in, and we're gonna take this map a little bit quicker, just for like clarity and time's sake, because I don't want to be yapping for 10 more minutes, because somebody's gonna yell at me for yapping. So this one is corrupted. We're gonna break it out. We're not gonna stand into things. We really don't want to die. Dying takes more time. We're just gonna give him the old wombo combo 1-2 clippity clap. Eventually it'll die. Okay, that's gonna die. We'll grab our essences. We'll grab our remnant. Remnants are really good. This one's got a dread on it. We're just going to see what happens. Nothing happens. And this is why we don't do anything that's less than 4, because nothing really happens. You want to always make sure that you try to do them on 4 or more, or the purples. Same thing here, like Greed and Spite. You can take this Shrieking and tie it and make it a Deafening, which we did, you know, because Deafening Spite is better, and it's probably, you know, a good judgment call. But, you know, I'll leave it up to you guys of when you guys want to do it or don't want to do it. Same thing with that one. That one had a bunch of Shriekings that we could have converted. This one's a Scorn. We're going to try to make it over. And there you go. It turns into Essence of Delirium. Okay, and we come here. We go over there. We come here. We slap this. We do that. We come over here. We take a look at this. This is Scorn. We're going to click on this one. That one turned into Essence of Delirium. Nice. Looks good. We're going to come. We're going to break this one out. Nice. Easy peasy. Lemon squeezy. There's another Misery. We're going to come over here. We're going to click on the Misery. It goes to Deafening. Feels unlucky. Come on this one. Break that one out. Nothing happens. And this is it, man. It's as simple as this, right? You just go essence to essence. You have a nice little mapping character that's a little stronger. You click on the essences. You upgrade them or you blow them all up. And you pretty much just have a really good time with it. This one we're just going to break out. We're going to come over here. We're going to click on this one. We get another Essence of Delirium. We grab this. And there you go. You have the map. Now, I don't know if this is going to be the best money per hour compared to things like Tier 17, Barrel and Go. But in terms of doing this, I think this strategy is a lot of fun. You know, you see sometimes you get lucky and you get a bunch of corrupted essences, and sometimes you get lucky and you just get a bunch of deafenings and upgraded essences. I did this, you know, for a couple hours on stream today. I pretty much filled up my essence tab with a ton of essences. Not all of these essences are from today, but all of these corrupted essences are from today. So like it becomes one of these things where you just start kind of like casually blasting maps, especially in tier 6s when you're not really thinking, and you can just kind of go map and go and map and go and map and go. And for the guy that's sitting there that's listening to this right now, that's like, hey man, I just want to be a map blasting character. Like, what do I build? I've got a small budget. This is literally one of those perfect things. Like, you have a small budget. You want to make a fast mapping character. You want to do really super down to earth, easy maps. You can do this and make currency doing this, especially if you're willing to like sell all the essences and kind of farm it out. You can also, another really interesting thing that you could do too is you could take essences that are really bad. So like these are like 78 to a divine, and you could take these. I haven't done the math, so you're gonna have to do the math on this. You have to do the math on this. I don't know if this is worth it, but in the past it was always worth it to just try to convert these to better essences. So now we went from 78 to a divine to 54 to a divine. You might actually be able to figure out if it's worth it to click these or not based upon the market and the time that you're trying to click it and how kind of things, work themselves out. Usually in the past, it has always been better to convert your bad essences into good essences depending on the market, but the graveyard this league really makes things kind of awkward and interesting. But going forward, there's a real play for essences. There's a huge play for essences, and I think essences can be a really big, contributor towards, the way we make our currency in the future. I like essences. Essences are one of my favorite things to do, and knowing that this corrupted essence farm is as easy as, these couple of scarabs makes me really excited, and I look forward to doing more of it over the course of the week and making some money with it and seeing how it pans out. So if you want to follow along and know how it works out, feel free to stop by the YouTube, the Twitch stream, any of that stuff. I'll have updates about the essences and what's going on with them. I'm also going to be working on a new build for the remainder of the league. I'm not sure what it's going to be. I have 2 or 3 things in mind. I don't know which one I'm going to do next, but I have the original Sin, so I want to play with that. And then we'll find other really cool things to do and something to take advantage of and just kind of wing it and have a good time. But for now, friends, I'm going to get this video out to you guys, and I'll see you all in the next one.